Hi, I'm Ryan Szymanski, curator for Battleship, New Jersey Museum and Memorial. And today, I've messed up and have been ordered to polish brass. What did I do wrong? Well, I didn't come up with an idea for tonight's YouTube video, so I was in a coworker's office, and the brasso was right there, and this is one of those quintessential Navy experiences right here. So, here we are, filming a video the day it's going to go up on the air. Going all the way back to the age of sail, ships were built with brass fittings. My first job on a museum ship, my first day of my first job on a museum ship, I was working on Constellation, and they put me to polishing brass. As the new tour guide there, I had not yet had a chance to read the manual. I hadn't shadowed any of the tours. I didn't know how to do anything. So they gave me a rag and a thing of, on Constellation was Brasso. Today I've got Sea Power. There's also, what's it called, Bright Boy. There's a couple of different types of Brasso. They all work the same, essentially. They all smell the same, which is that they'll open up your sinuses if you have a stuffy nose. Ask me how I know. Anyway, all the way back to sailing ships, you'd have things that were brass. For example, the half ring around the top of the capstan on Constellation, and the ship's bell were two. They were two pieces that were brass on a ship that's nominally all wooden, and they're out on the spar deck, the main deck, a weather deck, which means that when it rains, they get wet, and as soon as that happens, it starts to tarnish. So the staff member who doesn't know anything else gets handed a rag and a very big bottle of Brasso and told to go clean it. And that's one of those everyday projects. Now,
4th Division handled from the port side, main deck, and O1 level, from superstructure to superstructure. And there we chip paint and polish the brass. And
now, Brasso, again, it just takes the tarnish off so that it shines up real nice. On these ships, you'd have hundreds of sailors, usually lots of them low-ranking for manual labor. And sometimes you're not loading ammunition, you're not doing deck ops on an aircraft carrier. You've got nothing else for these guys to do. And polishing brass is one of those great projects. Now, obviously, as a museum ship, we do not have a bunch of non-rate seamen on board, so we rely on our volunteers to help with the brass. And we've got a group of volunteers that are our brass team. I know, the Navy's very creative when it comes to naming things. The brass team are a great group of guys, primarily former military, and it's awesome to talk to them. They've got a ton of stories. They're literally stuck in one place doing this. So if you're bored and you want to talk to someone, they're a great group of people to talk to. And many of them are former military people, and they talk about how they hated doing this when they were in the service. They hated being told to do it. But 50 years later, they miss being on a ship. They miss working with their hands and doing this sort of stuff. And so they come out every Saturday and just polish brass around the ship. Now, Brasso, once you've polished it on and taken out the tarnish, you then have to use a clean edge of the rag or a different rag and wipe off the residue that's there. It's kind of greasy. You often have to do a surface wipe and get the bulk of it off and then come back again and get it off. And you'll see that it tarnishes the rag to like this black color, or some places you'll see this green verdigris color, and that's the Brasso and the tarnish coming off. Shows you that you've done some work. Now, these rags are reusable. You can throw them in the washer. I don't recommend you throw them in the washer with the rest of your laundry, but once you've got a big load of brass rags, throw it in as one thing. Oh, that's shining up pretty nicely. You notice that brasso does stay on there as a residue. You got to get it all off. And now this part's much shinier than the rest of it, though not as shiny as our brass team gets. And I'm a little bit out of practice. I haven't had as much chance as a curator to do this as I did back as a tour guide on Constellation. Now, our brass team loves polishing brass so much How much do they love polishing brass? They love polishing brass so much that they've gone to a number of fittings that, yes, they're made out of brass, but normally in service would have been painted, and they've polished them back down to bare metal so that they have more to polish. I absolutely love that, because there's stories about sailors on these ships. Like, you come into a space and any of the brass fittings there, they'll paint over when they're painting the space just so they don't have to polish it later. And we've definitely found some areas where that happened on this ship. And they come back and they polish it all up nice and clean, so that they can, so that the ship looks fully magnificent for our visitors. Of course, Battleship New Jersey isn't the only one that polishes the brass. The submarine Bowfin, really bright ship on the inside. Boat, I guess, more accurate for a submarine. But if you're out in Pearl Harbor, you get the chance to visit her, check out her brass work. They do an absolutely stunning job. If somebody was to tell me that another museum ship had better brass than the Battleship, I would fight just about anyone, unless they were saying that it was Bowfin, in which case I think they're pretty evenly matched. If you prefer Bowfin over the Battleship, cool. But the stuff inside the ship doesn't tarnish nearly as quickly. There is a little bit of humidity and stuff that'll make it tarnish over time, but it's not nearly as bad as the stuff that's outside on the main deck. So things like the little bell that we keep by quarterdeck, not the ship's bell, which was actually steel for the Battleship New Jersey because there was such a shortage of brass in wartime. You could use it for other necessary materials for the war, like shell casings and things like that. But the little ceremonial bell that we keep by quarterdeck is relatively exposed, and that tarnishes pretty quickly. Fittings inside the ship now, I'm going to be able to walk down this passageway for the next couple of weeks and be proud of the work that I did here. Not quite a mirror finish yet. So if you're interested in doing some worthwhile volunteer work that you'll never finish the project, I recommend coming out and volunteering on a museum ship. If you'd like to join Battleship New Jersey's brass team, we're always looking for new help, but you probably don't live close to us. There are other museum ships around you. Go look them up and go help polish their brass. Every single one of us has a jar of brass polish somewhere, whether it's Brasso or Bright Boy, Sea Power, whatever other types are out there. What's a type of busy work you've been assigned to do? Let us know in the comment section down below. Have you ever had to polish brass before? Or was it something else? Something similar? Battleship New Jersey receives operating support from the New Jersey Department of State, also from a number of other businesses and private individuals like yourselves. We do not receive operating support from any companies that manufacture brass polish, unfortunately. If you'd like to donate so we can buy more metal polish, there's a link in the description below. You can also support us by liking, sharing, and subscribing so more people find out about us and the museum. Thanks for watching.